Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. Glad you are with us today on this November the 7th. Busy night of college basketball. We'll get into all that coming up in a little bit. We'll also break down last night's action. We'll be joined by Northern Iowa men's basketball radio voice JW Cox here in just a couple of moments as we will talk about UNI's big home win last night over Cal State Northridge. I guess C-Sun, I guess, is what we're going with now for Matadors. But big win last night for Northern Iowa. Rough night overall for the Valley. We'll get into all that coming up here in just a bit as well. Want to thank everybody who popped on last night. Our first Morning in the Valley overtime, joined by Harry Schrader, the Valley Hoops Insider, John Baker from the March of the Arch podcast, for a couple of minutes after the game, and we caught up on Drake's unfortunate overtime loss to Robert Morris last night. But we will continue to do that here through the coming weeks. Just all kind of schedule dependent. I'm the problem. It's me as much as anything with our schedule with Murray State and being on the road and trying to be able to sit back and watch games on a rare night off. And thankfully last night I had a chance to watch 4 games at one time. So thanks for everybody for being there, which is a great reminder. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe to Morning in the Valley for free. Hit that little notification bell so you are reminded every time we go live, whenever that may be. Because again, we're not just here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now that the season is here, and I don't want you to miss out on anything. For you audio only folks, don't forget the audio version of this fine program is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. So you can go hit up on that, and we very much appreciate your continued support. All right, let's get into our headlines of the morning, and we will start in Athens, Ohio, where the Illinois State Redbirds in their season opener go to Athens, and nobody just walks into the Convocation Center and expects to get out of there alive. 72-68. Bobcats get the win over Illinois State on a night where Chase Walker, 19 minutes, fouled out, 7 points, 4 rebounds, only 2 of 7 from the field. I thought the 7 was maybe the most significant number to me. Just that he was not, and a lot of those came late in the game, was just not overly, just wasn't able to get much going offensively. And I don't know how much of that came from early in the game. Had a couple of early travels where go in the flow of the game, and then flow of the game ended up, he just was not really a part of the offense at all. He finished again with 7 points. Johnny Kinzinger, I thought at times, I was like, yeah, that's the best player on the team. He had 15 points, 6 of 10 from the field. He nearly went the distance, played 38 minutes. We got to see Bowden Skunberg in his most extended minutes now. Season opener, missed all of last season after transferring in. He had 15 points, 6 of 13 from the field. And Ty Pence had 14 points, 6 of 8. Skunberg, that's 44 points, 18 of 31 from the field. The rest of the team went 9 for 31. And look, big 3 should be enough, especially when the big 3 isn't, your best player that we believe. But 9 for 31 from everybody else. And it was a game that Ohio, it wasn't really a fast start, but Bobcats got off. They're up 10. First half, Illinois State climbs back. End up going up 8 early in the second half. You thought, okay, they have righted the ship, and they're going to get things done here, but they just could not. Just 6 of 11 from the field. So to me, the jarring number, as much as anything, was Ohio shot 51% from the field. In large part, they were 1 of 8 from 3. In this age of college basketball, to only take 8 3-pointers was amazing. They had 50 points. They just had their way inside. And yes, Chase Walker wasn't in there a lot, but he was in there for 19 minutes. They just were able to do whatever they wanted in the lane. And so now for Illinois State, they will be back home now, looking for their first win against a good Cornell team coming up on Sunday. In Des Moines last night, another disappointing loss in the Valley. And this one, shocking from a standpoint, it had been almost 10 years since Drake had lost a non-conference home game, 81-79 in overtime. They fall to Robert Morris. Jalen Quinn, 20 points. He went 42 minutes last night. Oku Federico, 18 points, 15 boards. Transfer from South Carolina. He is going to be a name that you just cross your fingers long term, but he is a name we're going to know about certainly with Drake this year. Just a freak athlete, 18 and 15 in 31 minutes. In a vacuum, this is the example that stats lie. Drake turned it over 8 times. Robert Morris turned it over 17. Drake was 25 of 32 from the free throw line. Robert Morris was 8 of 8. Robert Morris also went 9 for 26 from 3. You kind of jumble all that up. You're like, well, Drake won by 15, right? No, Drake was only 6 of 23 from beyond the arc. Drake shot 37%. Robert Morris shot 47%. And second game, Drake got down by 10. Able to fight back, took the lead. We get overtime, down 2, and it's just that no man's land. 37 seconds left. Do you foul? Do you try to extend the game? Eric Henderson said, let's play it out. We're going to get a stop. We're going to go down and try and score or win the game. Robert Morris runs the clock all the way down, shoots it basically at the shot clock buzzer. They miss, and Drake can't get the rebound. As the ball just kind of bounced around and then got kicked to the other end towards Drake's basket. But all of Drake's defenders had crashed towards the glass so much that they weren't able to get around fires, and Robert Morris is able to get out of there. Look, Robert Morris is a NCAA tournament team a year ago. There's not some high crime and misdemeanor with this one, but it's still a home loss, and metrically those are absolute dingers. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but Drake played with fire, second game in a row, getting down by 10, able to come back in Sioux Falls on Monday, beat Northern Arizona, but last night unable to do it in overtime. They fall to Robert Morris. At Indiana State, again, 59-43 at the half. This was a game that for the most part, Indiana State was able to just run away and hide. It took a few minutes. Eventually, they ran away and hid. My main concern was, I don't know if they can get a stop. They gave up, I think, 92 to Charlotte after giving up 105 to Butler. And it's like, is this really going to be a thing this year defensively? That's why we can't totally knee-jerk after very small sample sizes. But, again, a non-Division I team, but give up 43 in the first half, only give up 30 in the second half. And so that was over a 20-minute window. That's the best run that they have done defensively so far this year. And L. St. Bernard, 17 points, 12 boards, 8 for 8 from the field. He is the only Sycamore in the last 20 years to have a stat line of at least 17 and 12 and to not miss a shot with at least 8 made field goals. And Derek Vorst, I don't know if this is probably a little personal bias just from the fact that he is from Rossford, Ohio, which is 1 mile from my hometown up in Northwest Ohio. But you see the improvement he's had this year, 12.7 rebounds, Indiana State. We'll go to SIUE coming up on Monday. In Cedar Falls, Northern Iowa, the romp of romps last night. And this is what the Valley needed. A 21-0 run in the first half, 57 in a game that was really over from the jump. Northridge put a little lipstick on the pig toward the end of the first half, but once we got into the second, the Panthers were off and running. Let's welcome in the radio voice of the Northern Iowa Panthers, JW Cox. Good morning to you, sir. How was last night? Nice and easy and nice season.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. You mentioned that lipstick on the pig there in the first half, and that's something Coach Jake talked about after the game with me. It was just that could have turned into something under 10 after the Panthers were up by 24. But this team didn't. They didn't fold. They hit some big shots. Troy Campbell, I think that's something we're going to talk about this season. It doesn't always have to be late game or late clock. But when the Panthers need a bucket, Trey Campbell has shown that ability certainly over the last 2 years. They're ongoing, and so that was fun to watch and fun to see. Like you said, able to do a lot of really good things start to finish, starting with the defense and a whole lot of other pieces that went into a really, really good first game of the year.
Forced 20 turnovers, most in 3 years, just from a defensive standpoint. No doubt to you on the defensive side last night.
Yeah, the quickness and the way the Panthers can guard 1 through 5. I thought the big men were super involved in getting out dribble handoffs that CSUN wanted to do. And so when you have guys like Will Hornseth, who maybe not the tallest, not the biggest, but certainly quick and agile, that can help those guards. Just for a second, Ismail Diouf, the transfer who came in, he was able to do that. And then, of course, you got guys with length like Leon Bond and Paige Schweiger of the guards. Max Weisbrod was very good staying in front of the ball and very good, able to cut off some of that dribble penetration. They just made life very tough on the ball handlers. CSUN was all about just trying to get to the rim, and that's what they're going to have to do this season, and certainly early in the season. And the Panthers did a great job, and of course led by Trey Campbell, and he just jumped out to me in a lot of different ways. Obviously, I talked about making him even more of a beast than Panther fans or Valley fans have seen so far in his 3 years prior.
We'll get to Trey in a moment. Leon Bond, we talked so much about you got so many guys back at Northern Iowa, and that's great, but it almost feels like Leon is sort of a second-time transfer portal addition just because he missed so much time last year with the knee injury. You almost kind of forgot about him and how impactful he can be. I don't remember the game. I know you had the game. He went off early in November. Points, 5 assists, 5 made three-pointers. That's happened 4 times in the last 20 years at Northern Iowa, and it was Nate Heisey. I'm sorry, we'll get to Nate Heisey in a minute. It was Noah Carter, A.J. Green twice, and now Leon Bond. So some good company there. He is explosive, and, man, if we forgot about him, that's our dumb fault because this guy is an all-league caliber type guy.
Oh, that was just so fun to see. I mean, Leon is back for sure. Before the game, as he was over by my broadcast spot, to say, "Hey, welcome back to the game." I know how much it means to him to just be able to get out there and play. And then we know what he can do producing. You talk about 23 points, and 7 of those come in a first half run or a second half run, all on his own. Right? You go into the locker room up by 14. You're thinking, all right, we got to put a little push on this. We know we can get up by 20 plus. We did it already against these guys, and it was Leon who powered it with a steal. Had some highlight reel dunks. He's going to do all of that game consistently as he has worked on and certainly wants it to be a part of his game. That's just going to make him all the more lethal. You watch CSUN and the way they have to close out on the way they had to close out on the Panthers and on the shooters. Ball fakes are going to be so key for these guys that can dribble and get a shot off the bounce. If you're keeping teams honest, having to close out on you because you can and have proven that you knock down the 3, this is going to be a team that's lethal with how they can do that. Really 1 through 4, and maybe some things will happen with the 5 men to be a part of that too, as we've seen in the past with guys like Jacob Hudson being able to hit that too. But he continues to bring it on the defensive end because he's going to have to. His length can bother people, and his quickness bothers people. So you'll start to see that stat line get stuffed, not just with the assists and the 3-pointers made and the points, but also blocks and steals, and certainly the way he can get after the glass too. He's just going to be so fun to watch. And like you said, if you did forget about him because he's injured in the crucial part of the season, right? That's what I look at. The games that the Panthers played last year without Leon, and just what could have been, right, with him as a difference maker and all the great efforts that they got from guys like Titan, guys like Jacob Hudson to make this Panther team extremely special.
Titan Anderson was such a force of nature with just his hurricane type, just force of will that he could take over games. It can and I know it's not apples to apples, but can Leon fill some?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that have learned from Titan and how to bring that energy to a game, even if it's not your play to make. You're excited and enthused about the plays that are being made. And to the point on Leon, absolutely, he knows the game. I think he used his time when he was on the bench and trying to recover to learn and get a whole other perspective as well last season. So turning the negative into a positive that he can use this year. But he's a bundle of energy, and he's leading a bunch of minutes in the game. But he was not backing down from anybody, and that's a guy that can also help spark you. You're not going to be led by a freshman, but when he sets the tone of energy like that, when he's out there, that's going to go to everybody. And Trey Campbell, Leon told me after the game, I asked him about Trey and what it's like playing with him, and And Trey's just steady. Something bad happens, you look at Trey and he says, "It's all right. We'll go out and get the next one." And he also has developed more and more of that fire and that leadership, that outwardly showing leadership that you want to have from a senior in his fourth year. So he can set the tone, and it trickles all the way down from that fourth-year guy in Trey, who's played a lot of games, all the way down to the true freshman Gian, who's getting his first game action. I think that's going to be a hallmark of this, continuing that on, and that just speaks again to how impactful he was for this program and the legacy that he left, because it's going to be carried on certainly in that way.
Trey Campbell, you look at the stat line, and it's just kind of just 10 years, happened 4 times. AJ Green, Nate Heisey, Titan Anderson, and now Trey Campbell. Just such a leader in so many ways, and gonna just doesn't have to score, can facilitate, gonna stick his nose in there and get some rebounds. Just kind of felt like a quintessential Trey Campbell kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he set himself up so well to have such a big season on both ends of the floor. Defensively, I've always loved what he's done. I mean, he was thrust into a key role defensively, even his freshman season, all the way back when, with the way injuries stacked up against that particular Panther team. And so he's continued to develop that way. He's developed his body and put himself in a position where he is going to have all the tools necessary to go out and do just what you said, a game that is an outstanding game, no doubt about it, but a game that everyone hopes will just become the norm for Trey Campbell, right? That'll just be another Trey stat line, and it's a career high in 7 assists, so maybe he's not always going to get to that. But he is so capable of being just the absolute leader and spark plug and reason that this team can reach the heights that everybody hopes and believes it can get to. He's just so fun to watch, just such a grounded guy. And back to that quote from Leon again, I mean, everybody looks to Trey in a moment, and that's some of what makes him able to hit the big shot, right, that I was talking about too, that might stop ready, and he is ready to fight the next battle. If something has gone wrong, great. If something's gone great, sure, we're going to celebrate it, but we're going to move on and know that there's something else to do. And that's one of the biggest things you want in a leader, that steady presence, and Trey Campbell brings that up and down this roster. Ben
Schweiger, I guess, been kind of dinged up, hadn't been around. I guess it was Saturday after the Upper Iowa exhibition, and it was like, boy, what's going on? And then, gets 24 minutes and 13 points and 5 boards, and sort of sliding right back in like a comfy pair of slippers. How did you see him perform, and is there any long-lasting effects?
Didn't seem like it. I mean, he was right back to being at his best, attacking the rim. It didn't seem like there were any ill effects there at all. When Ben can go off the bounce and use that athleticism and finish strong at the rim, that's where he's going to be at his best and where he's going to impact the game the most. And he was able to do that. He's just so crafty with that dribble, and it's surprising. It's surprising quickness. For whatever reason, it can catch defenders off guard because he goes from dribble, and all of a sudden elevate and he's to the rim. And it's such a weapon to have. And so, yeah, that was good to see, because nobody outside the team was really sure what that would look like in first game action for Ben Schweiger this year. And just another one of those pieces that, he had starting time last year. Will he be back in the starting rotation at some point this year? Who knows? It's all still in flux at this to tinker with and have at his disposal on a given night, depending on what the matchups are. But I saw the same kind of Ben Schweiger that we saw when he was at his best in February of last year, impacting this team at a high level on both ends of the floor.
Good to see RJ Taylor back out there after missing almost all last season with an injury. 5 points, 13 minutes, but it's floor contributing.
Yeah, when you put all the rehab together, like, he's ready to go and ready to get there, but he's got a longer battle than even guys just starting a year to get into that full go mode game shape. But so the more games he can stack together like that, coming off the bench, being able to defend on the ball is something that we all fell in love with RJ his first year and the beginning of last year before the injury. And that's going to continue to be a piece of his game that the Panthers have to rely on. But even he, late in the clock, in that second half, they had to go somewhere to find a shot. It ends up in his hands, steps in, and he knocks down the three. His three-point percentage over the first 2 years, not where he wanted it to be. And he can find his shot in the mid-range. He will be a guy that if teams are picking their poison, there's going to be an opportunity for RJ Taylor to be open from three a number of times in the game. And so if he can make teams pay as he did last night, that's, again, just making this team even more well-rounded. And, Jeff, I feel like I keep coming back to that, but, I mean, that's one of the things that stuck out to me. The Panthers going 9 players playing at least 9 minutes, and it was meaningful minutes and using the most of those minutes, all the way from obviously the starting 5 down to Gianna Hutchins, who I mentioned. I'm behind Ty Anderson at that 4 spot most recently. And so that depth and the ability to play that many guys, yeah, I know as a CSUN team that they're going to try to work things out, and we'll see what they become eventually this year. But there are guys, at least 9 of them right now, and maybe more coming, that are going to be able to contribute at a high level and an impactful level for this team every single night.
It's Overreaction Friday. We've got one game in the book, so we're ready to order Final Four tickets. Maybe what did, just in terms of something that just stood out to you last night, like, oh, that I wasn't maybe expecting that, and maybe we're a little ahead of schedule with.
I would say Tristan Smith. I mean, he's we heard a lot about him as a potential transfer that was going to impact early, but again, until you see it in game action, see it up close, his athleticism, and what stuck out to me was his ability to finish around the rim. He's explosive in getting to the rim, and he's a huge, big, strong guy. But his touch around the rim is just fantastic, and you have every confidence when he gets to the bucket, he's going to find a way against 1 defender, 2 defenders, oversized defenders. He's going to find a way to be able to finish. And so seeing that, what we've heard about Tristan Smith, what you can read in his stat lines from his days at Concordia, Nebraska, seeing that come to fruition in a Division I game for the first time, that stuck out to me as something that, again, another piece to build on for this team, and certainly a great starting point for Tristan Smith in his career with the Panthers now. I think I lost your sound there, Jeff.
Hey, I got to push that button right over there. I'm over here trying to blow my nose peace and quiet, not bother everybody, and then I turned everything down. Good first night. Next night, Sunday, South Dakota State rolling in. JW Cox, thank you for the time today, and short break. We're at it now. No, none of this. Hey, we got football tomorrow. I'm not.
Right.
Unfortunately, going to mind to you guys tomorrow, and somebody's got to get a win in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. So
see what happens.
There you go.
Something has
JW,
to break.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. All right, there is JW. Technical masterpiece over here by yours truly, as we just try to get through the morning. All right. Other news and notes as we want to jump now. Those were the 4 men's games yesterday. We did have 1 women's game yesterday early, and this was a matinee in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, as Southeast Missouri State rallies back, beats Evansville 71-66. This is going to be one that the Aces are probably going to be waking up this morning not super thrilled about. Gave up a 10-0 run to open the third quarter, gave up a 10-0 run to open the fourth quarter, as the Redhawks would hold off the Aces in the end, 71-66. Again, just from when you're looking at the stats in a vacuum situation, Evansville plus 13 on the glass, had 19 offensive rebounds. Cameron Runner, 26 points, 11 rebounds for the Aces. Wasn't enough. Part of the reason they had 19 offensive rebounds, Evansville shot 27.8% from the field, able to miss, chase it, just could not convert around the rim. Cameron Runner, again, 26 and 11. She was 6 of 19 from the field, but she got to the line a bundle. 17 free throw attempts for Runner, 12 of 17 from the stripe that helped her hit that 26-point plateau. Evansville has had 6 players in the last 25 years attempt at least 17 free throws in a game. 6 in the last 25. Cameron Runner has done it 4 times out of the 6. So that is certainly, she is the go-to weapon for this team this year. Georgia Cox had 11. Avery Kelly had 11. But this is I think that was the part yesterday when things kind of bogged down. It was just, all right, everybody get the ball to Cameron and everybody else kind of get out of the way and let her try and draw a foul. And sometimes she could. Second half, it didn't feel like she got quite as many calls, but that's going to be sort of, I think, the developing part for this Evansville team is who can be a true second option there for, because as this goes on, and certainly as the scouts continue and the film study gets done, Cameron Runner is going to be taken away from this Evansville offense. So who else on that Purple Ace roster is going to be able to step in and help lead this team offensively? Yesterday, just not enough. 71-66, they fall to SEMO. And now Sunday, from the frying pan into the fire. On Sunday, they will go to Iowa City and take on number 21, Iowa. All right. Ken Palm update of the morning. And we had some big movements last night in the Ken Palm. And the big reason for that is there's a couple rules when it comes to these metrics that are almost chiseled in stone. If you win at home, good. If you can blow folks out, period, that's awesome. If you're going to lose on the road, it's okay. If you're going to lose at home, that is about as bad as it gets. And we saw that last night from a metric standpoint. Northern Iowa jumps up 13 spots. They're now the top team in the Valley at 103. And the reason? They win at home. They exceeded expectations. Vegas had them about a 9-point favorite. You win by 29. Awesome. That's going to help you float you up. You're going to go up 13 spots. Drake, on the other hand, you lose at home. Not great. You know, they were whatever they were favored by. You lost at home to a team that was about 250 in the Ken Palm. They dropped 13 spots down to 137. So the balance sort of in that 105 to 130. Well, now it's 103, but all the way down to 137 now with those top 8 teams. So that's just something to watch as we get into this weekend tonight. The one game that will be interesting to watch, how much credit Murray State will get. They are a massive favorite at home against Mississippi Valley State, who is 365 out of 365 in the Ken Palm. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit, but it is an opportunity for, like, these are why you schedule these quad 4 games. And I know it's you just want to win. These are the games that you got to win and just keep the foot on the gas for the duration to be able to help yourself metrically. So we'll see what happens with the Racers. But UNI has now taken over at 103, Belmont 106. Those are the top 2 teams there in the Valley. On the women's side, we've got a commitment for 2026 as Illinois State has gotten now their 4th 2026 commitment. Signing day right around the corner, as this one is as good of a commitment as we have seen in this league, certainly this year. Kristen Gillespie and her bunch go outside Chicago, and they get a commitment from Daniela Mporokoso. She is a 4-star point guard, 5'6". ESPN, in their recruiting rankings of the class of 2026, has her as the number 66 player in the country this year. She is 5'6". If she was 5'9", she's probably going to the Big Ten. But she's 5'6". As we have seen, small guards in this league are awesome. Katie Dinnebeer and Maya McDermott, certainly the 2 over there at Murray State right now, Haven Ford, Hallie Pope, 5'6", 5'4", 5'4", 5'3", whatever it is. They are undersized and awesome. And so you're not going to give her an opportunity to play at the Big Ten level, the Power 4 level. That's fine. She can come down in here and have a very good career with Illinois State. Knock on wood, certainly for her. Comes from the same high school as current Illinois State men's freshman Tyreek Coleman. So maybe a little, hey, it's great down here. Come on down, have some fun. But Daniela Mporokoso, a big commitment rather, with signing day coming up for next week, I believe it is, next Wednesday, for Kristen Gillespie and her gang. But a 4-star coming in to Normal is pretty good. All right. Today, what we have going on today, a bunch of games. First, on the men's side, Evansville, 11 o'clock. They have a non-D1 game against Calumet. 11 a.m. Education Day there at the Ford Center. So a good spot for them coming off that Purdue loss earlier in the week to sort of get right. Valpo, after beating Eastern Illinois earlier this week, they are in Lexington taking on number 9 Kentucky. So that young team full of freshmen going to go onto the big stage and play a top 10 team in America. SIU is at home tonight. They will take on Kansas City. Murray State, as I said, hosting Mississippi Valley State, 365 out of 365. This is one of those games, just from a metric standpoint, you can't win by 20. You can't, or you're going to drop. That's the facts of the whole thing. So that's 7 o'clock tip there, Murray. And then one game out late. Interested in this one. UIC, can they steal one out west against Oregon State? This from again, from the Vegas standpoint, sort of telling you what they think. Oregon State just 3.5-point favorite. So very much on the table for UIC to go over and potentially steal one, get a great road win. Could be a quad 2 game before the end of the year. So great opportunity for Rob Eson's bunch after they got a nice 20-point win over Detroit Mercy earlier this week. Women's side, Murray State, they open their season tonight at Southern Indiana. UIC, a big one in a big way, going to Indiana. They will take on the Hoosiers in Bloomington, and then Belmont at home after they took the number 6 team in the country, Oklahoma, into the fourth quarter in Norman on Monday. They will be home tonight at the Curb Center taking on Brown. So a busy night here of college basketball. All right, quick scheduling note. I think tomorrow morning we'll be back. Saturday morning in the Valley. We'll check in and go through some recap tonight's action, and then we're kind of just playing it day by day, playing it by ear. Moving forward into early next week, I know my travel schedule is a nightmare. Monday, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, going to Dallas, Murray State playing at SMU. And so we will try to get on at some point during that time to kind of catch everybody up on where we are with everything. But again, great reminder, go to Morning in the Valley on YouTube, subscribe for free, hit that notification bell. So when we do go live, you will be reminded that we are off and running, and we'll be able to catch up. Hopefully, again, had a great time last night with Harry Schrader and John Baker and Michael Admire on Morning in the Valley Overtime, doing some live reaction to the games last night. We got to watch Drake in overtime as that one wrapped up. So I hope we had a great crowd last night, and hope if you were with us, you enjoyed it. If you weren't, hopefully you'll be with us next time. Remember, from an audio standpoint, these podcasts all available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. All right, I think I got all the plugs out of the way this morning. But thanks for being with us. Glad you hopped on this morning. We will see you, fingers crossed, tomorrow morning for a first-time Saturday edition of Morning in the Valley. Have a great Friday night, everybody.